My channel is called Serenity and Strength, and it covers my journey of widowhood. Apart from that, it also covers a wellness journey which formed part of the widowhood journey. And in that wellness journey, I talk about things to do with health. In this particular recording, I will talk about infusions, which is a series which I've been doing, water infusions, which I hope will help people to be able to take adequate quantities of water by helping to improve the taste of the water and also with that giving you additional benefits. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, I'd ask that you subscribe, and if you're already a subscriber, thank you very much for subscribing. Subscribing does not cost you anything. All it will do is ensure that once a new posting comes on, you are actually notified. So that is all that it does. You don't have to pay anything for it. I would ask that you also like and also share with others. But above all, I would also want to hear comments. Anybody who may have had similar experiences, they could actually let us also know, because that will help us in knowing how to navigate such situations. Apart from that, where I have mentioned certain things and maybe you'd want to comment on them, that is also most welcome and will help us to be able to shape the direction of the channel. I had been talking about my late son's funeral, and the reason I was doing that was because certain things that took place during that funeral did have an impact on my husband's funeral. So we had finished off with that lot of series, but if you have not watched it yet, I would advise that you do find time to watch that so that you can be up to speed with the storyline. And also, in case you've not had the chance to watch right from the beginning, you could actually also watch the earlier recordings, because that will also help you to have a basis, or at least have the base to know where we actually are. So in this particular case, the last thing I talked about when it came to this journey, it was the fact that we had actually had to take my husband's body up to the South African border so that the body could spend the night overnight in Joburg in a morgue, and then the next day it would join us on the flight. But the night before we went to the border, the representative of our friends came, and in the presence of myself, they gave the money, the collections that they had made, to the person who was going to travel with the coffin, and they narrated or they listed what that money was for. So the reason that they did it in that way was they wanted accountability, and that they gave it in my presence. So at least I knew how much had been given. They were very, very generous, I must say. Apart from that, they also gave me an amount separate. I have never been able to forget those who stood by us. In Gaborone, they were our employers, the friends, they were the Kenyan community, then they were our colleagues. Then from elsewhere, we had our friends, particularly in Eldoret and in Kenya, and also former colleagues. Wherever our friends were around the globe, they found a way of reaching out. Last but not least, our relatives. They really, really stood by us. And for everybody, I just always wish them blessings. And I just also thank God so much for having made them find it in their hearts to be able to stand in the gap. For they were very generous in terms of resources, in terms of messages, and in so many other ways. You know, small, small things, but which make a lot of difference when you're actually grieving. The next day, because we're going to the South African border, Joy came fairly early. When I woke up in the morning, I recalled just thinking to myself that, we are now embarking on the journey to go home. And this was the final journey for my husband. In fact, his chapter in Botswana was over. I kept on recalling the last trip we'd made with him and how we had come back and had that incident at the airport. But, it was just, to me, still unbelievable, but it was reality. One of the things that kept on happening throughout this whole period is that I would tend to fluctuate between um, believing what has happened, actually looking at the reality, and at times disbelief. And that went on for quite a long time. But this was one of the times when it really hit me that, this is it for him. We left and went to the morgue, and it was myself, Joy, the two elder children, and then the other friend. And when you got to the morgue, there were very many vehicles of friends and colleagues who had come. They had chosen a representative of theirs, somebody who was willing also to travel, who was going to come with us and who was going to represent them at the funeral. But the rest of them, this was actually the last farewell for them. So there were quite a number of them at the morgue, and just getting out of the vehicle, and you just would feel the atmosphere. A very, very somber mood, heavy, a lot of grief, you could just feel it. And of course, we're also feeling the same kind of thing ourselves. So we proceeded to a space we had been given within the morgue, and the coffin was brought. We had a prayer that was said, and after the prayers, then viewing was allowed. So all the friends and colleagues viewed, or we also viewed as well. And then after that, the coffin was closed and was carried to the hearse. It was carried by his friends. When we got to the border, the hearse went through the normal um, customs and immigration processes that they needed to go through, and we were allowed to go with them, cross over to the no man's land, and they told us that would stop just before crossing the gate to go to South Africa. We were just walking, of course, and the hearse was driving. And I still remember it feeling very cold, a cold wind. We stopped just before the gate, crossing into South Africa. We prayed. Then after praying, we all just stood there, and the vehicle, the hearse drove off slowly into South Africa. Um, we stood as we saw them going through the customs procedures. They went through immigration, and then they just waved at us from there, and they went. So we stood there for quite a while as they left until they disappeared. They were no longer in view, and you could see the emotions on people's faces. You could see some people even tearing, and it was just a very, very painful moment. The grief, the heaviness, and we were there with the cold wind biting us, the cold winter wind, and even the sky was just gray. Everything was just, you know. just making it a moment which was very, very sad. Eventually, we started walking back to the Botswana side, and we got back into the vehicles. We got back to Gaborone, and we all went back to the house. We had arranged that we would have a meal when we got back, and we found the meal just about ready. So we had a meal. We had at least some tea just to warm everybody up. And some people left after that, others remained behind. But then you'll find that even the ones who left later on, they did come back and just spent a lot of time with us. We're also trying to do our final bit of preparation, the packing, and you find that that is where Joy also helped with that. And they all left actually fairly late, so that we could try to get a little bit of sleep before traveling the next day. Such memories are not very easy to forget. They remain buried within you, and when they do come back, you find that they come back hard and fast. And one of the things I always found after that is that I would always associate July and the cold with those particular memories. So there are things which you find that despite healing, as I said, to heal, I think you do heal in that the pain becomes less and the memories are buried, but you do move ahead with them and you just learn to live with them.
This time round, I prepared hibiscus and orange infusion. We'll use about a quarter of a cup of dry hibiscus flowers and 5 to 6 half wheels of orange. Make sure that you wash the oranges thoroughly with water mixed with a bit of soda bicarbonate. And for all that, we're going to use 1 liter of water as the base. When the drink is ready, you will find that you'll have the benefit of antioxidants from the hibiscus, which may protect against cell damage and inflammation. It may lower BP or blood pressure. It could support weight management and also is an aid for digestion. With the orange, you'll have a vitamin C boost and also you'll have some additional antioxidants. Of course, you'll also have the benefits of water, which actually gives you a very big boost. You sleep for about 5 hours or so, and at the end of the 5 hours, you will determine whether the taste is what you want or if you would want to have it for a shorter period or a longer period. But the kind of drink that you'll end up having is a gorgeous hot pink beverage, and you'll find that this particular beverage has got a very unique taste. And once you have determined that it is the taste that you want, just strain the hibiscus out to prevent oversaturation. To drink it, you strain the drink into a cup if you're going to warm it, or if you're not and you're just having it at room temperature, you just strain it into a glass. And the taste that you'll get is actually simultaneously floral and also sour, and it has a tangy flavor, and the smell also is a very inviting one, which I'm sure you'll find that you'll enjoy very much even as you drink it. So you could actually add in some mint if you want to give it a unique flavor, but you could also try your own combinations. Do let me know what worked out for you in terms of combinations. Then kindly subscribe, like and share. And also, I'd love to hear comments on some of the other items that have been talked about in this particular recording. Bye.